A woman and her husband check into a hotel, only to discover a mysterious woman already occupying their room. But instead of kicking her out, the husband makes a shocking request that will leave you speechless.
이런 상상을 했어. 쟤랑 섹스하는 걸 당신이 지켜보는 거야.
미쳤어.
막상 보면 당신도 흥분될 거야.
This is the intense and thrilling plot of one of Korea's boldest films, The Scent. The lead actress isn't just stunningly beautiful. She's got a body that turns heads and a performance that will make any guy want to hit rewind and watch again. Now, let's dive in. On vacation, Detective Sean-woo, skilled at catching cheaters, decides to put his talents to good use by opening a private detective agency, offering infidelity investigation services to the wealthy. One day, a woman named Kim Soo-jin approaches Sean-woo, asking him to investigate her husband's affair. Given the generous payment from his client, Sean-woo decides to catch the cheater red-handed. Sean-woo tracks his target to a motel. After confirming that room 302 is occupied, he quickly opts for room 303. Just as he's about to grab his room key and head upstairs, he's hit by a mesmerizing scent of perfume. It suddenly hits him this woman could very well be the mistress he's been hired to investigate. After she enters the room, Sean-woo rings the doorbell of room 302, hoping to confirm whether the husband is inside.
아유, 죄송합니다. 사모인 줄 알았는데 사원가 보네요. 아유.
Pretending to apologize, he sneaks a glance inside. To his surprise, the mistress is a stunning beauty. Back in his room, Sean-woo can't get her image out of his mind, her figure haunting him. Just then, his client arrives, pulling him back into work mode. He tells Soo-jin about the situation and prepares her to rush into the room with a camera to capture the evidence. But to Sean-woo's surprise, Soo-jin only brings 2 bottles of beer, insisting that he drink with her. Sean-woo realized the capture wasn't going down tonight, so he decided to finish his drink and make a quick exit. But when Soo-jin grabbed his hand, wanting to unleash the desires building up inside her, Sean-woo knows this isn't part of his job. And just as he's about to reject her, he suddenly loses consciousness. When he wakes up, Sean-woo finds himself lying naked on the bed. He wanted to ask the client what had happened, but to his shock, he discovered she was already dead. Sean-woo sensed something was wrong and was about to leave the adjacent room when a woman's piercing scream echoed through the air. He rushed straight to room 302. Inside, he found the client's husband brutally murdered in bed. Then, a woman behind him caught his attention. Could she be the one who killed Soo-jin and her husband? He quickly grabbed the woman, who was trying to escape, desperate to find out who she was. When he heard her response, Sean-woo felt something wasn't adding up.
당신이야? 당신 누구야? 이름이 뭐야?
수진이요.
He grabbed her bag and pulled out an ID.
맞아요. 제 남편이에요.
What he discovered next left him completely stunned. Sean-woo hurriedly asked the woman why the husband was dead in the bed. She claimed she was in the shower when it happened and hadn't seen anyone enter the room. If the killer couldn't be found, it would be impossible for Sean-woo and Soo-jin to clear their names. In the middle of this chaos, Sean-woo's wife, Ha-young, suddenly called, asking where he was. Sean-woo knew they were in the middle of a divorce cooling-off period and needed a good excuse to calm her down. But just then, Soo-jin suddenly stood up to call the police. Soo-jin's actions shocked Sean-woo. To prevent her from causing more trouble, he knew he had to dispose of the 2 bodies quickly. First, he called his partner, Ji Pong, asking him to rush over and help. Then, he set about destroying the hotel's surveillance equipment. But what Sean-woo didn't expect was that the cameras had already been tampered with, and even the memory cards had been taken. It was clear someone had set this all up from the beginning. Soon, Ji Pong arrived at the motel. The 2 quickly packed up the bodies and cleaned every trace of evidence. They buried the bodies deep in the mountains, temporarily allowing Sean-woo to escape the crisis. But this wouldn't stay hidden for long. Sean-woo knew he had to find the real killer before the police turned their suspicions on him. He found Soo-jin's ID in her bag and had Ji Pong trace the address. They broke into the apartment. Inside, Sean-woo immediately spotted a photo of Soo-jin with an unfamiliar man, and in the vanity drawer, he found his own personal information. It was clear Soo-jin had deliberately posed as the wife of a wealthy man to get close to him. But why? And what was her connection to the other wealthy man who had been brutally murdered at the motel? With these questions swirling in his mind, Sean-woo rushed back to the police station to check the victim's phone records. Just as he was about to move on to his next step, he was shocked to see Soo-jin suddenly walk into the station. It turned out that not long ago, Soo-jin had reported her husband missing, and the police had found his car abandoned in a remote area.
당신 지금 나랑 장난하자는 거야?
남편 차가 발견됐대요.
뭐?
오늘까지 남편 연락 안 되면 관할 경찰서로 수사 요청 의뢰한대요. 더 이상 두려워서 못 견디겠어요.
Just as Si-woo was about to calm her down, his wife, Ha-young, unexpectedly walked in. With a new lead, the police decided to officially open an investigation. This left Si-woo in a bind. If the police started looking into Soo-jin, the truth would soon come to light.
여자가 있었다고 얘기하면 어떡해?
Si-woo watched as Soo-jin walked away, his heart stirring with unexpected emotions.
남편 실종된 여자가 향수를 뿌리고 다니 정신이 있다. 어지간히 남편 싫어했나 봐. 누구처럼.
Ha-young's words made him realize that Soo-jin was undoubtedly connected to her husband's death. To confirm his suspicions, Si-woo immediately went to Soo-jin's house, only to be told by the maid that she had gone to the yoga studio. Si-woo managed to bribe the maid and learned that the wealthy man frequently abused Soo-jin. Their marriage was on the brink of divorce. Given this, it seemed very likely that Soo-jin had taken advantage of her husband's affair to eliminate him. Determined to uncover the truth, Si-woo went to the yoga studio, hoping to confront her directly about her role in her husband's murder.
그만해요.
When Soo-jin saw that Si-woo was beginning to suspect her, she remained unusually calm. She invited him to her home and, using logic and emotional appeal, attacked his weakness with tears, making Si-woo suddenly feel sympathy for her. Later, Ha-young invited Si-woo out for coffee, hoping to repair their relationship. Just then, Soo-jin called, claiming someone was following her and urgently asked him to come to her villa. Si-woo immediately stood up, abandoning Ha-young at the cafe, and rushed to the villa. When he arrived, he saw a shadow running from inside the house. Without hesitation, Si-woo chased after it. A violent struggle ensued, and the figure, dressed in black, stabbed Si-woo before making their escape. Worried that the assailant might return to the villa, Si-woo rushed to Soo-jin's bedroom, only to be knocked unconscious by a golf club. When he finally regained consciousness, he found Soo-jin tending to his wound. Soo-jin knew it was Si-woo who had driven the attacker away. In return, she promised to do more than just heal his injuries. She would show her sincerity through action. Just then, a phone call interrupted their intimate moment. When Si-woo learned that the police had found the bodies, it felt like a thunderclap hitting out of nowhere. Only 3 people knew the location where the bodies were buried: him and his assistant, Ji-pon, who would never talk. The only other possible person was Soo-jin. Without wasting any time, Si-woo rushed to her house to confront her, demanding to know why she had lied to him over and over again. What he didn't expect was for Soo-jin to suddenly jump out of the car. Si-woo quickly got out and chased after her. Finding Soo-jin soaking wet at an intersection, he demanded to know if this whole thing had been her plan from the start. Faced with his intense questioning, Soo-jin silently protested with tears, and once again, Si-woo's heart softened. He pulled her into his arms and, without hesitation, kissed her. Soo-jin's charms had once again worked their magic. With the bodies of the wealthy man and Soo-jin being discovered, the police uncovered that Soo-jin had called an anonymous number multiple times before the incident. The moment Si-woo heard this, panic set in. He immediately called Ji-pon, telling him to quickly clean out the office and find a place to hide. Meanwhile, the forensic team found male protein samples inside Soo-jin's body. Once the test results came back, they would know who the killer really was. Hearing this, Si-woo grew even more anxious. He couldn't remember whether he had been the one to sleep with her after passing out that night. But it didn't stop there. The police suddenly received a package from an unknown sender. Inside was the surveillance footage from the motel corridor that night. As Si-woo stared at the footage of his own back, anxiety washed over him. He needed to get out of the station before his colleagues could piece everything together. Just when it seemed like things were closing in on him, the video froze at a crucial moment, allowing Si-woo to narrowly escape disaster. Now, his only priority was to get the autopsy report before the police did. So, Si-woo tracked down the medical examiner, using the excuse of wanting to cover up an affair, and demanded to be the first to know the results of the tests. It was the day of Soo-jin's husband's funeral, and Si-woo, along with his colleagues, came to pay their respects. Though Soo-jin was dressed in mourning attire, she still couldn't suppress the seductive aura that seemed to radiate from her. Unable to resist any longer, Si-woo walked into the family's resting area, intending to ask Soo-jin why she was wearing perfume at a funeral. Instead of answering, Soo-jin responded with actions that clearly showed she was still looking for something far more provocative. What would happen next at the funeral? Well, let's just say it's something everyone can probably guess without me saying a word. As Si-woo remained in the resting room, his colleague, curious about why he hadn't come out yet, approached the door. To his shock, he overheard something he shouldn't have. stunned by Sean-woo's behavior, comforting the victim's family in such a way. His colleague bowed deeply to the deceased and reluctantly left the room. The next day, Ha-young confronted Sean-woo, showing him his recent call log. She asked why he had made over 20 calls to the victim's family. As Ha-young had suspected, Gil-ro had discovered from the motel's surveillance footage that a couple had been seen on the same floor as the victim before the incident. He brought the couple into the police station to ask if they remembered encountering a man in the hallway. Noticing Sean-woo's strange behavior, Gil-ro immediately ordered his men to bring him in for questioning. So, he intentionally raised his voice, throwing all kinds of threats and intimidation at the young man. Gil-ro, sensing something was off with Sean-woo's behavior, became convinced he was involved in the case. At the same time, Sean-woo realized that if the investigation continued, he would inevitably become the prime suspect in the murder. Desperate, he went back to Soo-jin's house, hoping she would finally tell him the truth.
맞아요. 내가 그랬어요.
This time, Soo-jin decided to stop hiding and speak up. She revealed that her husband, Nam Yong-gil, was actually a pervert. One time, while they were at the gym, he immediately noticed Soo-jin working out, and the woman, driven by greed, ended up in the scene from the beginning of the video. But what Sean-woo couldn't understand was, if Soo-jin was seeking revenge for the abuse Nam Yong-gil had inflicted on her, then why drag him into it that night? To Sean-woo's surprise, Soo-jin continued to defend herself, so he decisively slapped the silver bracelet on her wrist, telling her to come to the police station and explain the truth. But Soo-jin wasn't afraid at all. In fact, she threatened Sean-woo, warning him not to act impulsively, because if Soo-jin became involved, the finger would immediately point to Sean-woo as the killer. Soo-jin would then turn into a key witness, making Sean-woo the fall guy. Sean-woo realized he had become a puppet in Soo-jin's hands. The only way out was to find the real killer. Luckily, there was a breakthrough. The forensic report revealed that the weapon used in the murder had traces of magnesium carbonate, a substance commonly used by athletes to prevent hand slippage during weight training. Hearing this, Sean-woo suddenly remembered Soo-jin's ex-boyfriend, Lee Jin-guk, a fitness trainer. He was often in contact with this powder, especially when using gym equipment. Sean-woo immediately headed to the gym to investigate. By tracing Lee Jin-guk's car registration, he discovered that the man had been near the motel the night of the murder. It was clear that Lee Jin-guk was a major suspect. Just as Sean-woo was about to make the arrest, Gil-ro blocked his path. Sean-woo knew that Gil-ro must have some kind of evidence to arrest him, so he kicked him to the ground and managed to escape the police station. But unfortunately, Sean-woo was eventually cornered by Gil-ro.
엎드리세요.
엎드리긴 이 새끼야. 여기 어떻게 야, 범인 잡아서 내가 내 발로 들어갈게.
더 이상 명령이 불응하면 발포하겠습니다. 엎드리세요.
야, 나 범인 잡아야 된다니까.
제발 좀 엎드리세요, 선배.
Luckily, Ji Aipong showed up just in time, offering Sean-woo a chance to clear his name. The two split up to find Lee Jin-guk. Soon, Ji Aipong found Lee Jin-guk's car and quickly forced it to stop, lying in front of it to buy Sean-woo some time. When Sean-woo arrived, Lee Jin-guk took off running, but he was soon trapped at a construction site. With nowhere left to go, the man finally confessed the truth. It turned out that Lee Jin-guk was initially hired by Soo-jin to kill Nam Yong-gil's wife, Soo-jin, in exchange for a large commission. However, on the day of the murder, Soo-jin offered him a much higher price. If he killed both Nam Yong-gil and Soo-jin, he would inherit 1/3 of Nam Yong-gil's estate. Tempted by the massive sum of money, Lee Jin-guk decided to switch sides. And Sean-woo? He was just a pawn in their plan. Shocked by the revelation, Sean-woo was devastated. Seeing this, Lee Jin-guk immediately knocked the gun out of Sean-woo's hand and quickly gained the upper hand. Just as Sean-woo was about to meet his end, a gunshot rang out, and Lee Jin-guk fell to the ground. It turned out that Ha-young had been secretly monitoring Sean-woo. When she realized he was in danger, she ordered the police to shoot Lee Jin-guk. Meanwhile, Soo-jin was brought to the police station by Gil-ro. Upon hearing that Sean-woo was suspected of murder, Soo-jin claimed she had been threatened by him. She explained that on the night of the incident, she had gone to the motel to catch her husband in the act, only to accidentally witness Sean-woo killing both Nam Yong-gil and Soo-jin. Since she was the true heir to the inheritance, Soo-jin claimed that Sean-woo had spared her life only for the money. She also pointed out that Sean-woo had an accomplice, her boyfriend, Lee Jin-guk. When Sean-woo was brought back to the station and heard that Soo-jin had framed him as the killer, his anger exploded. With Lee Jin-guk, the real murderer, dead and no evidence to clear his name, he became the scapegoat. Ha-young knew her husband was being framed, so she confronted Soo-jin, demanding to know why she was trying to set him up. Just then, the coroner's report came in. No traces of Seon-woo's protein were found in Soo-jin's body. Hearing this, Soo-jin panicked. If Seon-woo wasn't the scapegoat, she'd be in trouble. It was time for her to flee the country. Ha-young, realizing that without direct evidence, her husband could still be cleared, deliberately created an opportunity for Seon-woo to escape the station. She hoped he would take Soo-jin back and get her to confess the truth. However, shortly after Seon-woo left, Ha-young received an anonymous package. Inside, she found a video of Lee Jin-guk committing the murder. The only person who could have sent this video was Soo-jin. Gil-ro immediately led a team to Soo-jin's house, only to find Seon-woo alone. To their shock, Soo-jin had liquidated Nam Yeong-gil's assets, and the funds had been transferred to her overseas accounts. Gil-ro, enraged by the deception, demanded Seon-woo reveal her whereabouts, but Seon-woo knew that as long as Soo-jin disappeared completely, he would never have trouble again.
사건 당일 모든 진실이 담긴 DVD를 이영사에게 넘겼어요.
이제 와서 왜?
나를 진심으로 감싸준 유일한 남자였으니까.
So, he let Soo-jin go, clearing his own name in the process. After the ordeal, Seon-woo's relationship with Ha-young grew closer. 3 years later, the detective agency was booming. One day, a beautiful woman came to see Seon-woo, presenting him with a luxurious gift box. Inside, he found a plane ticket, and at the bottom of the box was a phone ringing. Seon-woo answered the call, and a familiar voice spoke to him.
김수진?
It was Soo-jin, unable to forget the kindness Seon-woo had shown her. Now, with only money left to her, she wanted him to come and keep her company. Faced with an invitation from a seductive, wealthy woman, what choice would Seon-woo make?